Welcome. In front of me I have the Vive Focus Vision, and I'll go for unboxing along with a quick look at the hardware that comes in the box. So anyway, let's just cut our way into it. Now this is the first time I'm actually ever getting my hands on any kind of HTC headset. They used to be very popular before. This one is, to be honest, a little bit more expensive than what I would be actually looking for myself. I do use a Quest 3 on a relatively frequent basis. Oh, these controllers are way bigger than I expected. Holy crap, these are like long boys. Okay, that's interesting. They have a couple... Oh, they're already on too. Okay. Anyway, so that's the controller. There's the second one here. Come on, hop out. There we go. Yeah, this one is just as chunky as the other one. Let's take a quick look at the... Oh, there is no removable battery. It's chargeable. Okay, cool. Might be a little bit annoying with Type-C ports. You will have to have like several of them. Unless it comes with a cable that allows you to charge both at the same time, which would be pretty cool. See? So here we have a charger for, I presume that's the headset alone. This is a pretty beefy looking one. And then we get our... Oh, yep. So it's one end is Type-C with basically splitting into two separate ones. So that's pretty cool. So it means you can charge your controllers both at the same time with a single Type-C charger. Anyway, continuing on, let's now whip out this little boy. Oh wow, that is light. That is actually lighter. Considering the size of this is lighter than I expected. Okay, that's pretty good. Now it is a bit chunky. Let's get rid of this as well and drop this to the ground. Okay. I'm just taking a look at this to see what we're dealing with. What is here? Not sure what this is for. It looks a bit weird. Okay, can move that up. Let's take a look at the lenses, and unfortunately the lenses are Fresnel lenses. Oof, that's a yikes. So the reason I'm saying that's a yikes is because this is a standalone headset for 1,000 euros. So it's not cheap. It's what you would consider at this point a premium headset, I would say. And it coming with Fresnel lenses is just a big yikes, considering we have pancake lenses, which would make this headset be much thinner. Now, arguably, it would also probably make it a bit heavier than it is, so it's a bit of a trade-off. And that being said, this actually has one cool feature which I personally really like to see on more headsets, which is eye tracking. So it has actual eye tracking in here, meaning that obviously your eyes being tracked, and you can utilize hopefully things like the foveated rendering. So when doing wireless gaming, you are able to virtually just have less strain on the network and send for instance footage of the game to the headset with a super high resolution wherever you're looking, and wherever you will be looking it will change. Obviously wherever you look, it's going to automatically swap to this location to be rendered at max resolution, and everything outside of your like focal point, meaning your how we call it, your peripheral vision will be more blurry, but it's your peripheral vision, so it's not like you're gonna see it. So obviously this is gonna allow the headset to run better quality of games at basically the same kind of performance cost as other headsets, so that's a benefit. Now, additionally, we also have a pass-through, so it's supposed to allow us color pass-through. And going over the specs right here quickly, we have a dual LCD panels right here. No micro OLEDs apparently for this price, which again, a bit kind of sucky. And they are running at a resolution of 2448 by 2448 per eye at a combined resolution of 4896 by 2448 pixels. It also caps at 90 Hz refresh rate only, which again, it's a bit of a shame considering Quest 3 can go up to like 120. And it's also a standalone headset. Then the field of view is apparently the standout feature, which is up to 120 degree field of view, which I presume is horizontal, as these lenses are a bit wide. So that's pretty cool. Then in terms of audio, we have dual microphones with noise cancellation and echo cancellation, dual drivers with patented directional speaker design, 2 of those, so for each side. Privacy mode for minimizing external sound leakage, and a 3.5mm audio jack. Output, we have a headset button. That's an output apparently on the Vive side, and volume buttons. Processor is what you would expect, Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2, which is at the point the best one you can get, though it's already dated. It's like over a year old at this point, so hopefully there's going to be a new one soon, as like I said, this one is already dated. Memory wise, we are looking at 12 GB of LPDDR5 RAM with 128 GB of built-in storage that can go up to 2 TB via micro SD card, which means that we can slap in a SD card somewhere here. Nope, that's a Type C. That's another Type C. Damn, there's a lot of Type C's here. Where the heck do you put that SD card then? Huh? What's here? So here we have something. Maybe that's for trying to kind of show this. So we have some space right here, which I have no clue what that is for. Huh. I guess it's for the battery. So that would explain why it's so light. The battery is not inside of the headset. So with it, it will be a bit chunkier. Okay, there we go. The battery isn't that bad. So let's plop that in here. Trying to make sure that I'm gonna be plopping it correctly. Probably not like that in this case. Doesn't want to go in. Okay, let's get rid of this strap as it's annoying the heck out of me. There we go. Okay, how do I clip that in? Oh, okay, so this makes now a bit more sense. So these points that we had right here, all here and here, that's for top is for charging, and the side is so you can press the button and see the battery charge. There we go. I would really want to be able to clip that in place. Okay, I see it now. So we have a bit of a railing right here, so at the here and here. I need to be a bit more precise with that. Okay, so that's one. There we go. And then this magnetically attaches, and there we go. And yeah, now the headset has a bit more heft to it. Also, in terms of balancing, it's now heavier at the back. So it still looks like it's pretty well balanced though. But like I said, back is now a bit heavier. Though, that being said, headset protrudes much further at the front than at the back, so that should kind of even it out, I would presume. Anyway, let's continue with the specs right here. So we are looking at a USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-C port. That's one. We have another one Gen 1 Type-C port with DisplayPort support. which I have no clue which one that is, honestly, because there's multiple of them. We have Bluetooth 5.2 and Wi-Fi 6E. Additionally, in terms of sensors, we're looking at the tracking cameras. There's 4 of them. So these are the here, and here. Along with eye tracking cameras, which those are barely visible. These ones right here at the bottom, this one and this one right here. You kind of see this. Probably can just take this off. Yep, there we go. And they're much more visible right now. So here we have the cameras, 2 of them. You can also see the size of this headset right now. Additionally, the facial interface is also magnetically attached, so that's pretty good, and it's holding pretty well on here. We have high resolution full color pass-through cameras, 2 of them. So these are the ones at the front, though it doesn't really specify what the high resolution stands for, which would be pretty nice to know the pixel count. We have some G sensor, proximity sensor, depth sensor, infrared floodlight, and gyroscope. So here's our, I believe, depth sensor. The infrared, I have no clue where that is. But if I'm correct, the infrared would mean that you can use this headset in darkness, as the infrared is basically a light that is not visible to human eye, but it is to cameras, which will be lighting up the room for the headset itself, and it can just kind of track itself more efficiently then, but obviously no one else will be able to see it. Now, moving on to eye tracking, which there is a specific category under, we are looking at 120 Hertz gaze data output frequency, binocular. There's just a lot of gibberish that I don't really understand that much, but it's referring to eye tracking, with a 0.5 degree to 1.1 degree accuracy within 20 degree field of view, 5-point calibration, automatic IPD adjustments. So the lenses themselves will move on its own based on your personal IPD. That's also pretty nice. Ergonomics, doesn't really matter, and battery-wise, removable, swappable battery with life up to 2 hours. That's disappointing considering the whopping size of this. Up to 50% charge in 30 minutes with included 30-watt adapter. Hot swap support with built-in reserve battery for up to 20 minutes. Oh, I didn't actually know that this is this headset. So there is actually another battery in here, in the headset, allowing you to, basically once you start running out of the charge on this one, you can pop it out, plop in a new one, and the headset will never turn off, as it does have a secondary battery as a support battery when you're swapping it out, which is actually a pretty cool design. So you just get a pop-up, battery dying, swap it out if you have additional batteries, and yeah, nothing happens. You just continue playing on. I would probably compare it to something like the Bobo VR head straps, but those have a bit easier access to the battery, and they're like at the back, so you can just kind of like pop them on and off. Here you do need to take off the back cushion and then pop out the battery, and be a bit more precise with popping in the new one, as it is a bit precise of a mechanism there. You can just like kind of slap it and magnetically attaches like the Bobo VR, which that is something that I believe they could improve on, as the design with the battery putting in, if you're gonna hot swap it, not the greatest. And yeah, that's basically everything worth talking about it. Now I will be testing this out at home later, probably today, to get to see how that looks like, performs with games on my PC, and yeah, I guess I'll get back to giving like a review of this headset later on how it actually performs in case of like using it, and I'll be doing that based on the price tag of it as well. And probably I'll be referring as a comparison to Quest 3, as this is the headset that I had the most amount of time using, so that's the one that I feel the most comfortable to like see what the best comparison would be in terms of the quality and all that stuff. So if you're interested, stay tuned for that. That will be later on. But with that being said, hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.